any given day with you guys. But I mean, that's his. He ran the football for them. He coached there for a long time. You think Coach is going to be extra fired up? I assume come Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, he told us Monday he's already fired up. He doesn't want to peak too early, but he said he's fired up on Monday. He told us. So yeah, like I said, we know his history. We know he played there and what Philly meant to him, and he coached there and whatnot. But as players, we want to go out there and win for ourselves. I mean, last year they handed to us pretty well. They beat us pretty well. But it's a new year this year, and we understand that a lot of different players. They actually have new players too. They brought in a bunch of star players, so it's going to be a good matchup. I think we match up pretty well, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Love it. What about I mean, I'm kind of curious since we were talking about Dan Campbell, and I look at this when I'm done the sidelines, man, of games on Sunday, and I'm seeing Mike Vrabel out there doing the wind sprints, and I'm like, there's very few coaches, I think, that if you needed to get a series out of them, they probably could do it. I think I think you could still get a series out of Coach, don't you think?
I agree. I think you can get maybe a good series, maybe two if the drive isn't too long.
Yeah.
He's definitely probably one of the biggest human beings, head coaches I've definitely been around. If you haven't seen him in person, he's a monster.
When I was at that game, I shook his hand and I thought he was about to break my hand. I was
like,
oh
yeah,
my
he's
God,
huge.
He's a big dude. So does he do up downs every practice, or that was for show?
I don't know if he does it every practice. The defense, I don't think they do it every practice. But I think when they do, I've seen him definitely. That wasn't the first time he's done them. He definitely has done it before that. I've seen. But I don't know if the defense does it every practice. That's the only thing.
Yeah. What has it been like? I mean, you have it at your position and so many other spots. We're talking about Deuce. We're talking about Dan Campbell. Guys that have played in the league for a long period of time are on your staff. What is that? I mean, I've always talked to guys around the league where they're like, no slight to my coach or my position coach. But if my position coach had to go out there and in their career, they went out and did exactly what I have to do on Sunday. There's a different feeling, right, when you're talking to Antoine Randall or somebody.
Yeah. Having L as a coach, it's awesome because it's a guy who's been in the league. He's done, he knows what it's like when we're out there. If you haven't played the game, it's kind of hard I think it's hard to coach it sometimes. I mean, some people might disagree, but especially as a receiver, there's certain things that you can't really explain unless you've been out there and experienced it. And he understands that, which is awesome because, sometimes we're in meeting rooms and he understands, maybe we have to get 12 yards on a basic route, but the defender's at 10. He understands, it's tough to get to 12. You still want to get to 12, but it's going to be tough. I get it. He's standing there. Little things like that he understands that for us as players, we love. And most of our staff, really, a lot of our staff play in this league. So that's something that we like because they understand what it's like to, have a training camp for 2.5, 3 weeks, have to go play in a preseason game, the grind that it takes, how we feel, how our body feels. So, I mean, it's just awesome to have a bunch of guys on our staff, a bunch of coaches that play this game.
For sure.
I have a more personal question. I was doing some reading of some articles of you were mentioned in coming out of high school. Is it true that you can speak 3 different languages?
That is true. So actually, my mom is from Germany. So German was basically my first language. I only speak German to her still to this day. She only speaks German to me. And I used to go to Germany with me and my 2 brothers. My mom's whole family's in Germany. So we used to go there when I was younger every summer and hang out with, her parents, my grandparents, during the summer for a month or 2. That's when we were younger. And then once we got to high school, we couldn't go anymore, obviously, because of football and whatnot. But so German was basically my first language. I speak German to my mom, English to my dad. And then I went to French school growing up from preschool to 5th grade. So it was an all French school. Basically, you speak French to everyone, to your teachers. You have 1 hour of English a day, but that's it. Everything else is in French. And then I also went to school in Paris for a semester when I was in 3rd grade.
So when you chose USC, you said something in German, right? You said thank you or something?
I did.
That's pretty cool.
I said thank you to my mom and how much she's helped me and whatnot. It was definitely it was a fun. That day was fun. I remember that.
Is there any correlation that you can make from, being in Germany and France and having experience in different cultures? Does that translate at all to, dealing with a locker room when you're in there and there's so many people from different backgrounds and just being able to navigate and build relationships with people?
I think 100% it does. I've seen, I was fortunate enough as a kid. My dad sent me and my brothers and my mom. We all used to travel all the time. I've been around, a bunch of parts of Europe. We went on cruises all the time when we were younger. So I've seen a bunch of different cultures, and I think it really does help understand, personalities. But I think languages, they do open a part of your brain that, if you didn't speak different languages, you wouldn't really have. So speaking different languages, opens my brain to different things. But I couldn't thank my parents enough for what they did to me growing up. Like I said, I traveled a bunch. I got to see a bunch of different cultures, and in a locker room setting, like you said, everyone's from different areas. Some people are from the South, some people are from the West Coast, maybe Seattle up north, Midwest, and everyone does things different, which I understand.
Mhm.
When you're speaking to players are having a hard time, whatnot, you got to approach everyone differently. And I think, having traveled and understanding that there's people do things differently is definitely something that helps me, communicate with people, get to know people, and get along with people.
It'd be next level then. Work on a Dan Campbell, or use your Deuce Staley in German. Do a Deuce Staley impersonation in German. That would
Yeah.
be next level.
Do you ever get mad at him in practice and start like cussing him out in German or French?
That is not. No, I don't do that.
Okay, good. I don't want to put any ideas in your head.
Right.
But sticking with kind of how you were raised, and I'm this kind of is curious to me, because your dad being in such an, Mr. Universe, being in such an individual sport, and you're in a team sport, what do you take from the things that make you successful that you learned from him from an individual sport aspect that actually helped you in a team game like in the NFL?
Right. I think my dad, he was basically like my trainer growing up, me and my two brothers. But for him, what he told us, I remember growing up, was doesn't matter what sport you're playing, what you're doing in life, you got to attack everything the same way. Whether you want to be a tennis player, whether you want to be a football player, whether you want to, I don't know, be a chess player. I mean, you got to outwork the next guy. It's all about how much work you're putting in, dedication, all that. So he was super self-disciplined in his sport. Obviously, you have to be in bodybuilding. You got to watch what you eat. You got to work out almost every day. So he was super disciplined in his in his work ethic and how he approached his sport, that he kind of instilled that into us. So I mean, growing up, we played a bunch of different sports. I played basketball, football, and soccer. But I mean, whatever I was doing, I mean, we approached it the same way. Even in school, my mom was always tough on us in school, making sure we're getting good grades. But whether I was trying to get an A+ on a test, or go out of my high school game and perform well, it all was the same thing. I had to either study hard, make sure I did my homework, study hard, go over whatever it was, that material, or if I wanted to perform well, it's you got to be practicing hard and whatnot. So it's all the same in a certain way, but you just have to approach it, think of it, differently. So my dad, obviously being a bodybuilder that he was, he just instilled that in us and told us whatever we want to do in life, you got to approach it the same way, and you'll be fine.
So I'm assuming you've never been out of shape for a single day of your life.
I would say probably not. I would say a lot of it has to do with genetics, though. So I think my parents.
Oh, I'm screwed. Okay.
You could drop the workout plan for us. If your dad can write up a little nutritional guide for James and I, that'd be great.
Yeah, that helped me.
I got you guys.
So I want to ask you what your relationship on the field now is with your dad now that you're in the NFL, because if I'm correct, you guys have developed like a nonverbal language and he would give you signs from the bleachers. How much of that still exists when you're playing professional football?
So it's kind of, that's actually funny that that. When we were in high school, he would just give us, either speak to us in German from the stands. Even when we were in Pop Warner, actually, he would say German, key words to remind us when we're out the field what we should be doing. But that was because, when you're young, coaches, especially Pop Warner coaches, they don't like when their parents are yelling from the sideline and coaching from the stands. So
for sure,
he would just say German, and they would have no idea what he's saying. It actually worked perfect. But now that I'm in the NFL, I mean, I'm at a level where he knows I know what I'm doing, so he's just there to enjoy now and watch me play ball.
it would have been cool if you guys were playing in Germany, right? I mean, is there a big fan base over there for you?
The fan base in Germany has actually grown. I was actually there this summer to do some, some media stuff and talk to them. Their fan base, I remember being there 7 years ago. That was the last time I went when I played football out there for the national team. But that was the last time I was out there. So getting to go back this year was actually crazy because football has grown a lot since the last time I've been there. I mean, they have a game in Munich this year with the Bucks and the Seahawks. So, I mean, the sport is growing drastically, which is awesome for me to see as a German, football player. But yeah, like I said, it's different for them. They don't understand all the rules, but shoot, they're out there cheering, yelling, anything that good happen, anything if any play happens that they think might be good, they're yelling. So it's actually it's hilarious.
I'm not gonna lie, I did the Colts. I've done the London game several times, and I did the Colts London game with Andrew Luck, and obviously Germany loves Andrew Luck with the amount of time he spent there when he was growing up. I felt like half of Germany came down to Regent Street to celebrate him, and now that he's retired, man, it's time for you to slide right in and be the
the face of Germany.
Face of the NFL in Germany. I think we got to get the Lions in that game in Munich. Hopefully, I get it. If anybody's listening that makes decisions, James Palmer would like to cover the Bucks.
I would like to assist.
Brady game in yeah, that would be a treat. On to the field, like the two things that you guys kind of as an offense we're struggling with, obviously red zone third down, right? That staying on the field and then making sure you get 7. What have you seen in camp that kind of makes you feel like those two things have maybe turned a little heading into 2022?
I would say, maybe we doing it a lot more, repping it in practice. So, going against our defense in those red zone situations, our coach does a good job of implementing that in our practices every day. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So our coach does a good job of implementing that into our practices, red zone situations, a lot of third downs and whatnot. But I mean, a lot of it has to do with us as players. We just gotta whatever the coach calls, we gotta go out there and make it happen. I don't care if it's a run on 3rd and 5, we gotta go out there and get that first, or if it's 3rd and 15 and he calls whatever it is, a dagger at 16 yards, we gotta make the catch. So a lot of it's up to us as players, and we understand that. And I think we have attacked, training camp, even preseason. I think we were pretty well on 3rd down. So that was definitely good for us to see going into the season.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys can do, once the season actually starts, because it has been so fun to follow. And of course, tonight is the season finale of Hard Knocks. I think we only have a couple more minutes left. So I want to ask the last question, and then James, you can ask one.